Okay, everybody, it is me, Gregory Mannarino. It's another day and another freak show. Every day is a new episode of The Freak Show. And we have to talk about it because it's laughable. I'm laughing. This morning I'm laughing. Why is Greg Mannarino laughing? Well, let me start off with the date. So it is Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. Let me explain to you why Greg Mannarino is laughing this morning, and you too. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about already. Well, let's talk about it. So we found out that President Bidenstein, in coordination, of course, with other nations around the world, are going to be releasing crude oil, from their strategic oil reserves. Well, Bidenstein had promised to release 50 million barrels of crude. Did you see what happened to crude oil futures? Initially, it was lovely. Crude oil futures fell under pressure. Well, since that time, and it's just about 5:56 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, crude oil futures are now higher. Make it up. Make it up. Look, I explained to you yesterday exactly what this was. This is a Band-Aid on a much bigger problem for which our illustrious retard president, would not address at all. You see, what he's being told to say, and he's a puppet. The man's brain dead. Every president is a puppet, but this guy maybe takes the cake with regard to, brain dead individuals. Anyway, with that said here, if you recall yesterday when he literally was kissing the ass of Fed Chair Powell, praising the man, he did neglect to, point out that this man and other members of the Federal Reserve presidents were caught insider trading. But that's fine. It's fine in this environment, you see, because that's the real government. Powell is the real president. All the nonsense leading up to the, Biden's pick, his pick for the Federal Reserve is just a show. The Federal Reserve picks who they want. You understand? I think you got that. They answer to no one, and they do whatever they want whenever they want to do it. That's the story over there. Yeah, so this morning it's kind of laughable. As I said, despite the fact that the brain dead president and the rest of the puppets around the world, they're all puppets and they're slaves to their central banks. They they released their oil from the strategic reserves, and it's nothing. It's a Band-Aid, and I can promise you there's going to be a rebound effect. There's going to be a rebound effect with regard to crude oil. Count on it. This is just a Band-Aid, period, the end. Look, we all know the game. This is a game. All of it is a game. I tell you this all the time. It is a freaking game. Anyway, let us move forward here. So we got stock futures right now flat to slightly lower. And people, are you watching the MMRI? Risk is rising. Okay, it's being ignored pretty much across the board. But we got another warning today yesterday actually after the market, from Bank of America. Bank of America is warning yet again on the stock market. Look, I've spoken to all of you about these warnings from these Wall Street mega banks, and they've been wrong over and over. They've been warning for months and months and months. And Bank of America, as a matter of fact, has been one of those banks that has been warning and warning and warning. But now they're saying they are very bearish on the market moving into 2022. Why? Do they believe that, let's see, the criminal cartel of the highest possible order, I'm referring to the Federal Reserve, is going to stop buying assets? Do they actually believe that it's going to make any difference with this market whatsoever, that is in some kind of a euphoric state? No. This euphoria will continue until it doesn't. I don't understand why an institution, let's say like Bank of America, or any individual out here, can say, oh, look at this, and whatever I just said. I have no idea. You can't do it, all right? You want to pick tops and bottoms? Well, you're in the retard group. Absolutely. Can't be done, okay? We just got to take in the macro picture, which we do every freaking day out here, okay? And it's the central banks running the entire show. I don't know what they're trying to say. All right, Bank of America warns, and Morgan Stanley warns, and Goldman Sachs warns. They're all warning, and all the market does is go record high, record high, record high, record high. Forget about it. There's going to be no meaningful deviation, people, from the Federal Reserve's end game, and that is to own it all, to be the lender and buyer of last resort, so we can expect more lockdowns, more curtailing of rights and liberties on the people. This is all about control, nothing else. It's just a freak show. It's an absolute total freak show. Let's talk about a freak show here. We got gold and especially silver getting hammered this morning, hammered. We watched them get hammered yesterday. We watched cryptocurrencies get hammered yesterday. Cryptos right now are flat to slightly higher. Good. I don't give a damn what happens. I really don't. Look, you all know my take on gold and silver and platinum, palladium, and cryptocurrencies. These are anti-debt units. Okay, you want to badmouth these things, you want to stay in the dollar, good for you. I already told you that the relative strength of the dollar relative to other currencies will remain high. But we haven't seen anything yet, people, with regard to surging inflation. And we had, again, the freak, Bidenstein yesterday, ass kissing, literally, I think the man was on his knees, ass kissing. Of course he was on his knees. To the real, world leader here, Powell, trying to address issues regarding inflation, but not pointing his finger at the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the root cause. The Federal Reserve is the root cause of surging inflation around the world, not just here in the United States. The Federal Reserve is dollarizing the entire world. We all know that. The Federal Reserve is funneling dollars around the world to central banks around the world, who, instead of using their own currency to buy assets, they're buying assets with dollars. You're not supposed to know that. This is all... Look, the Federal Reserve conducts trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in business off balance sheet, okay? So forget about it. And I think you understand what's happening. It's an incredible thing, and it blows my mind, really does. But anyway, it's not going to stop. So you got, a President Bidenstein, praising the Federal Reserve, who's the root cause of the inflation, is the root cause of why he is releasing crude oil from the strategic reserves in other nations around the world. Okay? The petrodollar, people. It's an unbelievable thing. It's so diabolic. I don't know another way to put it. The dollar being the reserve currency, the world reserve, the petrodollar system, it's absolute corruption like you can't possibly believe. Anyway, people, it won't happen. You will not hear, and I've been asking you for the longest time, a single, even one of our, very caring, loving representatives call the Fed chair, vice chair, which is now what, Brainard, before Congress to find out what they're really doing. No, the Fed will continue to run their inflation creation machine at full speed. And you know how it works. I'm not even going to talk about it again. They are the root cause of everything that we're seeing. They are deliberately creating inflation on a global scale. But I guess this secret is eluding people like brain dead presidents. No. You see, he understands what's going on at its core, just as the last president did too. As a matter of fact, the last president was calling for negative rates. President Trump, negative rates. He wanted a weaker dollar. Sure, that would have empowered the Federal Reserve even more, and made your life a lot harder, but no. Oh, no. So look, none of these puppets work for you. You may think they do, and they may do a nice job of convincing you that they're on your side, but they could not be angled more against you, okay? We have no representation, people, in this country anymore. Again, this is a global phenomenon. It's the central banks who are now, well, the ruling body of the world. They are the one world government that we have all known about that was going to rear its ugly head at one point. Well, we have it now. We now live under the rule of central banks. The rest of it's just a show. All of it, it's just a show. So in summary here, let me check this for you in real time. I want to just laugh. Let's see. What do we got? Okay, we got crude oil now catching a bid even higher, despite the fact that, strategic reserves were now tapped. The initial headlines is crude oil falls on tapping of the strategic reserves. Now, what are they going to do now? Flip it around because it's now higher? This is nothing, people. It's a Band-Aid effect, and they all know that, including the retard president. It's all a game, and you are being played like a grand piano. You really are. You see, but the difference is you're doing something about it, okay? Like I always say, this channel is for winners. You're not just sitting here listening to me talk. You're taking action because you are a lion, period, the end. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you later.